Intention is everything. This work is intention because what I'm doing is tapping into people's subconscious. I'm asking them to set the intention to clear whatever issue they came to me with. And then I have the intention to clear whatever they came to me with. And then when I'm swiping, it's with the intention to clear. And so it's just all intention. Every day, all day, it's just my intention, how I'm showing up, what I'm intending to happen.
Welcome to Don't Step on the Bluebells, the podcast where personal healing and transformation take center stage. I'm your host, Amanda Parker, and I'm a fellow seeker on the journey of personal growth. Join me as I delve into the stories of gifted healers, guides, and everyday people who have experienced remarkable transformations. Listen in as they share their practical wisdom to enrich your everyday life. And don't forget to hit subscribe and never miss a new episode. Welcome to today's episode of Don't Step on the Bluebells. I'm speaking with Jodi Greenstein, a seasoned HR professional turned energy healing practitioner. Jodi shares her remarkable journey of overcoming chronic health challenges through alternative modalities. We'll explore the powerful techniques she uses, including the emotion code, body code, and belief code from Discover Healing, to help clients identify and clear energetic imbalances. Join us as we delve into Jodi's expertise in unlocking the body's natural healing abilities and fostering transformative well-being. Jodi, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Me too. So maybe you want to give an indication to everyone who's listening of how do we know each other?
We both have been working in the advertising industry, and you and I sat right by each other, and we always just got along so well and had so many common interests. And so we know each other from, it was back in the late 2000, like 2006, 2007.
That is true.
Yeah. So little did we know we both had another side that we hadn't fully leaned into yet. So it's been super exciting to see that you're also on this path.
Today, we're going to be talking a lot about the work that you do with the Discover Healing method. So I know that there's a number of different codes, the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code. I'm not going to even attempt to explain any of these because I know that you can do that better.
Yes.
But I'd love just to hear a bit about how did you move into that world of work, or how did that find you?
Yeah. So I was chronically ill most of my life. Like even as a baby, I was colicky. And, my earliest days, I had a compromised immune system, and I was always sick. I was always going to doctors. I had pneumonia as a child. I had to take allergy shots. I was just allergic to everything. And it, was on a path of like constantly being on antibiotics and so many medications. And then by the time I hit my like 20s and 30s, early 30s, I was going downhill quickly. Like I had so many issues, autoimmune disease. I had every symptom for autoimmune, digestive issues, chronic migraines. I was out sick all the time. And thankfully, none of my companies ever held it against me, and they were always super supportive, but it was just like one of those things. And even in school, like I always hoped I would be the kid that could have perfect attendance, and it was just not possible. So I was always on a path of just sickness. Like I identified as just being a sick person. And it wasn't until, sometime in my early 30s that I got connected to an acupuncturist. And she opened my door and eyes to all kinds of alternative methods. And it was just like, yes, because I was on so many different medications and everything was causing additional side effects. And it's like, I felt terrible. I mean, terrible. My brain wasn't functioning the way it should. I mean, just like everything was awful. And so I'm like, there has to be a better way. Like, and even doctors saying like, this is the way it is. And it's like, no, like I'm not, to know me as someone, I'm kind of like stubborn and like, no, that doesn't feel right. Like I'm super intuitive and I've always been intuitive. And it was just like this knowing of, no, this isn't going to be my life. This isn't going to be my destiny. Like, it's just not. And so when that acupuncturist referred me to, I, started working with her and seeing all the changes. And then she referred me to a shaman, and that shaman's like, I think you need to get Reiki certified, Reiki attuned. And she did it. And it was so crazy. Like, she attuned me, and all I saw was indigo. I had no idea. I didn't know about chakras, and indigo is your, brow chakra. I had no idea. And I'm just like blasted open, and I'm just like, wow, this is so crazy. And then it just started the path, working with all these different kinds of healers and alternative modalities. And it was sort of off to the races, and things were healing. I was working on more of a mind, body, spirit, like doing craniosacral therapy and clearing trapped emotions and all of these things. Like, and it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so much relief. There is a better way. And I just have never turned back. And then getting attuned to Reiki, I then learned like different things would come into my life. And I believe that everything comes in at the right time. I believe in divine timing. And so then at some point when I moved to Los Angeles from New York, I was so sick. So I was in New York for 15 years. That's when we knew each other. And I was so sick. It was after Hurricane Sandy. And I was just like, my adrenals were blown out. I was in a bad way. I mean, my whole weekends would be sleeping, like just like I would use all my energy to, show up at work. And then the weekends, because I'm also an empath and a highly sensitive person who would take on people's emotions. And I didn't know how to do protection at that point. And so my weekends were just like sleeping. So cut to, as I've learned all these different methods for protection and healing and what I could do, it was just like my life changed. And so I moved to Los Angeles. I found a doctor who was just like, whoa, you're allergic to everything, literally everything, minerals, nutrients, vitamins, leather, you name it, everything. And so through that, I got connected to another doctor who did NAET, which was allergy desensitization. And it's very similar, albeit a little bit different how we get there, but it's very similar using muscle testing, which is what we'll talk about today. And that sort of opened my eyes. And through that, I got cleared is sort of the word we used, on all these different allergies and sensitivities. So I was able to start to bring in all these different foods and not have reactions. I was able to be in the world again. And it was just like, wow, it was just like, and even today, I am healthier today than I've ever been in my whole life, healthier than I was at 16, 25. Like, it's remarkable. And it was funny, my dog, he lived to almost 21. And I used energy work on him and had some other energy practitioners working on him as well. And he also aged in reverse. It was fascinating, by clearing all of these different things and bringing the body into balance and harmony. So I'm just super, super, super passionate about this work and educating people and opening their eyes. Like, there is a better way. Western science has a place, and I believe in it wholeheartedly, but I don't believe in it for everything. I think there are other ways that have been around for thousands of years.
It's really powerful to hear that. I mean, first of all, you didn't give up. Because I think when a lot of people get that kind of diagnosis or that information, sorry, you're allergic to everything and you're just a sickly person, they can actually go into feeling really defeated. And the difference here is you said, yeah, no, that is not the way that I want to live my life. Like, this can't be everything. So I think it's also really empowering just to hear that there is a different way, that just because you have a diagnosis or just because maybe a track record of a certain disease or illness or allergy or whatever has gone a certain way, it's not a definitive answer. There's always a way to actually either go within or find the right healer, the right teacher, the right modality that speaks to you in that moment in time and find relief from it. So the allergy thing I'm also really curious about, because honestly, my hay fever is out of control and it's just been growing the last years. Admittedly, I moved to a new city, so here in London we have different plants and trees than wherever I lived before. But I find it really fascinating that it could even be possible to not have that.
So I worked with this doctor soon after I moved here. And again, divine timing shows up in all of our lives. I think some people are just more aware of it. Like, there's something here, like things show up at the right time and the right people and the right space. And it's just like, okay, this is something like this is a monumental moment. So after I went to that doc, what happened was I moved to Los Angeles and my brother's like, you need to go see my facialist. I'm like, Rhett, she's so expensive. I don't want to see your facialist. And I had actually found him this facialist from New York because she did something similar to what I was having done in New York. And she used energy work in her work. And he's like, just see her. And I show up and she's like, whoa, you're not well. I'm like, I know, but no one can figure out what's wrong with me. And she's just like, I have the perfect person for you. And she sent me to an integrative functional doctor and who looks at the whole body, mind, body, spirit. And I was like, okay, great. And I see him and he's like, whoa. He's like, how are you even functioning? He's like, your adrenals are completely blown out. And I'm like, yeah, it was finally this, like, you see me, like you're validating. Yes, 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 yes. And then he did all these tests and saw all the allergies that I had. And so it was just this like awakening of, okay, you see me. And then it was, now I can do something about this. And then, of course, in his office, it was the strangest thing. There was this pamphlet for NAET, again, the allergy desensitization. And it kept showing up that week, like these words, this acronym, NAET. I'm like, okay, I hear you. Like there's something here. So then I Googled it. I already had an acupuncturist. And so most people who do this work are usually acupuncture or chiropractors. So then I got led to this chiropractor and she had been I worked with her between 2 to 3 times a week, clearing allergies. Like I was just like, I'm going to put so much money towards this. I need to heal. I need to be better. And so it was so interesting because a year and a half ago, little over, she had said to me almost 2 years ago, she had said to me, so Jodi, I'm going to be retiring. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to function? Like I'm so reliant on this woman. By the time she retired, what happened was these emotion code kept coming into my world over 1 week. It was just like emotion code. And then I was talking to someone else, emotion code. I'm like, okay, I hear you. Clearly there's something about this emotion code. So then I read the book and within 24 hours, I was off to the races. And it's so similar. And so I learned how to do that and then went straight into the body code, which is just a similar version, albeit a different focus. And it was just like, when the teacher, it was like I was no longer, it was time for me to be the teacher. It was time for me to do my own healing in such a profound way, like I was able to. And it was literally the week that she resigned. It was within days of her finally leaving that I was then able to take over. I'd worked with her for so long. It was sort of like in the olden days of apprentice work, where you study with these masters, these gurus, and then it's like all of a sudden you're able to show up and really be that person.
I remember learning this when I first started my Reiki training. It's like when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and it has always been true. So could you tell us what exactly, I mean, you're mentioning now the emotion code, it's sort of sneaking its way into the conversation. And I know that this is a part of a bigger body of work. So what I understand is that you have the Discover Healing methodology. Maybe you could share a bit, what is that?
Discover Healing has 3 different methods: the emotion code, the body code, and the belief code. So the emotion code is all about trapped emotions. So as we go through life, we have different things happen to us, and we don't always fully express those emotions, and they get trapped within our bodies in different places. That can cause pain. That can lead to chronic issues. And so the emotion code, and then also there's something called a heart wall. When we continue to make ourselves vulnerable and we get hurt, we put up these protective layers around our heart to protect ourselves. And so what this work does is clears those heart walls, clears those trapped emotions. And so the emotion code, I'll show you, has this, it's an app. And so what I'm doing is by using, so if you see, there's all these
Mm-hmm.
different words, and there's a column A and a column B and lines 1 through 6. So what I'm doing is using muscle testing, and there's different ways to muscle test. Some people, work with a practitioner and they hold their arm out straight, and the practitioner pushes down on their arm, and it's a yes or a no answer. And that's what it's also known as applied
Mm-hmm.
kinesiology. Then there are other people who use the ring and thumb method, where they pull apart, and if it's false, it goes through, and if it's strong. And for me, my head
Mm.
becomes a pendulum. I used to use a pendulum, and so I would ask yes or no questions, and that's actually how my NAAT practitioner had worked. So I was very comfortable with that style. So anyway, what I do is for trapped emotions, and they all align to heart chakras. Like the heart, for example, the word abandonment is a trapped emotion that's related to the heart. So they're all tied into the different
Mm.
chakras. So anyway, I'll ask, is it column A or column B? Odd row, even row. And then I get into a specific cell. Then there's 5 words in that cell, 5 emotions. And then I work through. So what happens is the energies want to be identified.
Basically, what you're sharing is that our body has this knowledge within. Oh, well, you correct me if I'm getting this right. So, our body has this knowledge within, and you're essentially asking questions. So, if I'm experiencing, to use the example of allergies, you might actually go through and you've got a list of things that I, as the client or patient, don't see, but you're actually asking, okay, is it this? Is it this? And by doing that, the body, from my understanding of muscle testing, innately knows yes or no. So it won't lie to you. It will always give you a straight answer. And it's just about how you're accessing that answer through these different tools that you mentioned, which might be pulling your fingers apart, or it might be, if your muscles give out or they hold strong, etc. Is that accurate?
That's
Okay.
exactly right. That is exactly right. Yes. Yes. And everyone can learn how to muscle test. It's a muscle like anything else, that it just takes practice. So, like I said, I learned by just buying a pendulum and say, show me yes, show me no. So when it was yes, the pendulum would move, and I would just hold my finger, but the pendulum would move. And it was no, it would go
Mhm.
sideways.
I mean, I love using
Yes.
pendulums and but
Yeah.
it's really fascinating to me still how this information comes through.
There's a few books that not only the emotion code, which talks about muscle testing and that whole idea because it's critical in order to
Mhm.
do this work, but also David R. Hawkins created Power versus Force, and also the Map of
Mm.
Consciousness, where it talks about how every emotion has an energy, a frequency, and a vibration. And so there are some that are below 200, which are lower vibrations, and then everything over 200, and talks about the different energies. And so it all goes hand in
Mm.
hand, to understand trapped emotions, the frequency, vibration, and what it does to the mind, body,
Mm.
spirit.
So when someone comes into you and they're suffering, it could be a physical ailment, it could be emotional, there could be many different things. What happens when they come in and they say, "Oh no, I don't know. My shoulder hurts, or I can't walk well, or I'm suffering from allergies." What would your approach be there?
Yes, thank you. So what I do is I'll ask them, like, what issues do you want to talk about? What issues, are on your mind, or things that you want to address? So then they'll list off whatever is the highest priority, and then I'll
Mm.
muscle test and see what is the highest priority of those things. Oh, it's your chronic migraines. And then I'll ask, should I be using emotion code, body code, belief code? Okay, we're going to use the body code. And then I go into the body code. So what's happening is they're giving me permission to
Mm.
tap into their subconscious. So our conscious mind, most people don't realize this, is only about 5 to
Mm.
7%. The subconscious is more around like
Okay.
93%. So we have no memory, and it's actually created this way as to keep us safe. It's basically a supercomputer where our subconscious remembers everything that has ever happened across all time and space, all timelines, from when you were the smallest, before you can even remember what happened to you. It remembers everything. So your body remembers everything. And, and things get stored, like something that happened to you if you had a traumatic birth, like that, your body
Mm.
remembers that. And so what happens is I'm just tapping into your subconscious with permission. So I'm not reading your mind. None of the practitioners who do this are reading minds. And we're able to then get yes or no answers. So it's super cool because I work remotely with people. There are some people, I do all my sessions either on phone or they email me or send me a message and just say, here are the things I need to work on. Then I muscle test and I do a Google Doc and I share all the things that came up. And then, so there's two different ways. So it's really great. And what's amazing is there doesn't have to be a story. So let's say someone had some kind of serious trauma. They don't have to go back into it. There doesn't need to be a story. They don't need to talk about it, but it's going to come through. And, and then I also can get ages where it's just like, okay, the trapped energy of vulnerability or fear or terror, this is at age 5. Let's clear it. And so they're like, well, I don't know what happened at age 5. I'm like, you don't need to know. Like, we're just letting it go. We're identifying it, which is what the trapped emotion wants to happen, or the heart wall. And then we're just letting it go. So it's really nice that you don't have to get too attached to, like, some people will say, like, should I meditate on this? I'm like, nope, it's all
It
good.
sounds
It's
like a
gone.
relief.
It's gone. And through intention, it is. It is. Most people leave a session and they're like, I just feel lighter. I feel more at peace. That is what I hear from most
Yeah,
people.
because I'm
Yeah.
in the school of thought, not that I'm such a firm believer in this, but that you think about it and you reflect and you contemplate and you make the conscious choice to let things go. But of course, in my lived experience, many things don't. I might know, I might feel it, I might be aware, and that's fantastic. But at some point, it's like, could this just go away, please? Like, how do I just, can you learn it and do it on yourself too at some point?
So that was my main point in learning it, was to do it for myself. So here's the thing. I told you I got Reiki certified back in, like, I don't know, 2011, 2013, 2011 maybe. And so it was always just for me, my dog, and my family, to do these things. And then last year I got such a big hit, like, it's time. It's time to come out. It's time to start doing this beyond your little inner circle. It's time. I'm like, oh my goodness. And so I'd already been using this for so long, but I wasn't certified in it, because you don't have to be certified in emotion code or body code. Belief code you do in order to get access to that, because there's so much more that goes into it. And so I literally, my whole drive in learning it was to heal myself, continue to be that teacher that, take on that healing for myself and not be beholden to somebody else where I have to go to them 2 to 3 days a week. Like, no, I can do this. I've got this. So I work on myself constantly. It's like I'll eat something and it's like, oh, I'm having an issue. All right, let's get this. All right, am I good? Yep, I'm good. Go on with my day.
I'm in the coaching world and people come in and there's patterns and behaviors and things that we've been holding on to, or that clients have been holding on to forever, and it's just remarkable that this could be shifted. And I'm trying to think also of different modalities that I've learned or experienced. I was actually just in Santa Fe last week. So I'm very jet lagged now, back in London. And my coach was hosting a retreat, and there were a couple of shamanic practitioners who were there. One works closely with horses, and I don't know that she would call herself a shamanic practitioner, to be fair, but she works closely with horses who could show you just incredible emotions and feelings and fears and doubts that, I mean, I didn't even know how to express that feeling. And then there was the horse reflecting it back to me. And I went, oh my God. So I was very grateful and also overwhelmed by it. But even just transmuting some of those fears or blocks or doubts with fire, for example, writing out, I don't want this in my life anymore. I'm releasing it. I'm letting it go. So it's fascinating. Just how many ways there are to engage with this, but also hearing you and trusting that this really works, how it works, that it's possible to do that. And it doesn't have to be painful.
No, it doesn't have to be painful. And what I love about this is it's safe. And you can do it for anyone at any age, babies and when I work with kids under 18, their parents give permission. So more often than not, they don't even know it's happening. And then the parents write me or share with me the next time we work, like, you will not believe what just happened. So there's not even like a placebo effect where someone, oh, they're working on me, and then they believe, like, no, they don't even know that I'm working on them. And then, like I said, even dogs, like my dog was having energy work, and he would come to me, and it was like, he would tell me, like, do that thing. Do what you do. And I love working on pets too, because animals are so sensitive, but it's so interesting to me. Like, a lot of people like doubt it, like, oh, this can't work for me, or you've been doing this stuff for so long, or you're just a sensitive person. It's like, no, literally anyone can do this. Like, once you learn how to muscle test, um, anyone, and he makes this so easy for anyone. Again, once you learn a muscle test, it's A or B, odd row, even row, left side, right side. I don't need to know the body. I don't need to know, because like the body code, which we'll go into soon, I don't need to know anything other than how to muscle test. And I'm really good at muscle testing. But again, it was a muscle, that I wasn't always good. And I, again, started with the pendulum, which is a great way to get started. For me, that's what worked well. And so it goes to show you, like, everyone can learn how to heal. And actually, I'm not the healer for these people. They're doing their own healings. I'm just a clear channel that's bringing through healing and helping them to identify what's in the way of them being in balance and
When
harmony.
you said he, could you tell us who he is?
Yes, Dr. Bradley
Okay.
Nelson. Yes. So he's a chiropractor by trade. And what was happening was he was becoming known as someone who was, all these people who had mystery illnesses and couldn't get relief from going to doctor. People kept referring them to Dr. Nelson. And he used muscle testing, which a lot of chiropractors use. And again, also known as applied kinesiology. And he would get to the root cause, because this whole thing is about getting to the root cause of the imbalance. We don't get caught up in the names, disease. Like, we're not, you come to us, like, we're about bringing things back into balance and harmony. Identify what is out of balance and harmony. Over time, he's like, there has to be a better way. I have to be able to show people how to do this. And so then he developed this whole method. And he started with the emotion code. He wrote a book. Then he came out with the body code. And the body code is, so it has 6 different categories: energies, which are trapped emotions, and all different kinds of energies, like sabotaging energies, offensive energies, curses, entities, clearing any of that. So I can clear it on, any of us can, on houses, on people, on whatever. And it just comes up and you clear it with intention. Pathogens, the energy of a virus, energy of a bacteria. And then you also can identify as if there is an associated imbalance. So is there a pathogen and your respiratory system? Oh, because you ask, is there an associated imbalance? And then you get, again, everything is yes, no. So it has energy, pathogens, circuit or systems, which are, so it's basically, again, I don't need to know the body, but it breaks down into organs and glands and your energy body and different systems. So every single body part is in this. So I can do like a chiropractic adjustment and and bring things back into balance and harmony. Like, oh, you're L6, you're this, you're that. I don't know these things, but it's where the subconscious is guiding me. Misalignments, toxins. Toxins is really interesting too, like clearing heavy metals, excess, and then nutrition and lifestyle. So that also guides, is there something missing that needs to get added into someone's life? Or is there just an imbalance? It's really interesting.
Is this something that someone can come in and heal everything at once? Is it over multiple sessions? Is it one 3-day long session? I mean, what does that look like?
Yeah, good question. So most people need time between sessions, unless they've been working with energy for a long time. Like, I could do it all day, every day to myself, and it processes quickly, but I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
always like that. So typically most people need about 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours to process the energy. And it just depends on what the issue is. There are some things where I'm able to clear it in one time. Most things take more time. And so it's interesting because just like you would never expect a doctor or to, like all of a sudden, like you go and see a doctor and in one session, your autoimmune disease symptoms are gone. You have to be realistic that depending on how chronic something is, it could have been years in the making, or you could be a baby who has eczema, who hasn't been in this world that long, but you just have to get to the root cause of what are the things that are causing this. So it might not take as long. So it just depends on what the issue is, um, as to how many things are
Mm-hmm.
imbalanced. And then a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, I need to keep working with you. Like now here's another issue. So it's kind of fun. Like you start to create a list of different things that you want to work on. It's like, oh, now these things. And, I want to work on fertility. Like I'm having a really hard time getting pregnant. So what I love is there are so many different things. I mean, not only emotional, physical, but also limiting beliefs and negative beliefs. And that's where the belief code
Mm-hmm.
comes in. So, I'm stupid, I'm not smart. It's like, okay, what is the root cause of that belief? And then I use the belief code to get to the bottom of it and clear all the different things that have come up. It was so interesting. The other day, a client said, my daughter's on Thursday. She's a really big test, and she keeps saying, "I'm so stupid." She's been saying it for years. She's always been like, "I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid." So can you please help her to clear this limiting belief of "I'm so stupid"? So I'm like, yeah, I get that it's going to take 3 sessions because I can muscle test and usually get a pretty clear idea of how long. Now, sometimes there's layers of a
Mm-hmm.
belief, but I'm like, yeah, it's going to take about 3 sessions. So I was working on it and I sent her back and she's in another continent. Like, and so we're not talking. It's just me sending notes, a Google Doc, like, hey, I'm done. Here's your Google Doc. She's like, it's so interesting, Jodi. You wrote, I shouldn't be here. When she was so little, she used to say that all the time. I shouldn't even be here. And she's like, so completely like you nailed it when you said that. And then this other comment that you wrote, this other phrase that came up, she's like, that is what she always, says. And so then after the first session, right away, she said she felt calmer and lighter. I'm like, all right, well, we still have 2 more to go. So then on Wednesday night, she's like, Jodi, it is night and day. She's like, she's ready for this. She feels calmer. She hasn't called herself stupid. She hasn't been like berating herself. And so, and again, she doesn't even know that it's
Mm-hmm.
happening. She has no idea I'm working on her, the daughter. So it's just super cool to see how you clear some of these things and how there's
Mm-hmm.
such a shift.
And that would all come through like with the muscle testing that you're actually able to say, what's the
Uh-huh.
belief that's happening here? And the belief is that I don't belong here. And you would find that through the muscle testing. That's what would come up. And then you
Yes.
have
Yes.
yeah, okay.
There's thousands of phrases. So like I'll be taken to left side, right side, and there's all these different chakras. And then under each chakra, there's all these different negative and
Mm-hmm.
limiting beliefs. So I get taken to the right one, and then I continue to clear all that are tied back into I'm
Mm-hmm.
stupid. And then I clear everything. So they liken it to a tree where the leaves and branches are the
Mm-hmm.
negative program, the limiting beliefs are the trunk, the faulty core belief are the roots that go into the earth. And then the soil is the faulty core identity, if there are faulty core identities. And so what I'm doing is excavating, bringing up the entire system and making it go away. Everything that is related to that limiting
What would an
belief.
example of like a faulty core identity be? What would that mean?
Oh, like I am flawed. I am stupid. I am not
Mm.
worthy.
So like a belief about who we are at our core.
That's exactly right. And again, it's in the subconscious. So it may not make
Mm-hmm.
sense to us. Sometimes people may say to me, well, that doesn't really resonate. And it's like, it doesn't a lot of times it won't resonate. And what Dr. Nelson says is everything can cause anything. And so, like, for example, you have an eye twitch or you have, you know, a, a rash that shows up somewhere, and it's like, oh, this is related to your EMFs. You're having an allergy to EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, I haven't been around this, or I don't know what that means. And it's like, all right, well, let's clear it and let it go. And then people see shifts, and it's like, whoa, EMFs did that. So it's super interesting how anything can cause anything anywhere. And it's like, even if your foot hurts, it actually could be from an imbalance that's in your head, you know, because everything is related.
We heard that on a recent episode with Dan Bienenfeld about Heller work, that
Mm.
sometimes you'll come in presenting with one ailment or illness or something that's not feeling right for whatever reason, and it's actually in a completely different part of the body. So that it is all related in the system, but well, typically, I guess Western medicine, obviously not every doctor in the Western society is the same, but typically there's a symptom and you heal it or you fix that and you work only on that thing, but you're not always able to observe where else that might be impacting you. So this sounds like it's really holistic.
Yeah, because we're not
Yeah.
parts. We're a whole. You have to look at mind, body, spirit. Because you have a rash, here, put on this cream. And it's like, no, but what's the root
Yeah.
cause? Why do I have this rash? Why do I have this eczema? Why does this thing keep showing up? And so that's what I love about this work is let's get to the root cause and clear it, versus continuing to sort of put on Band-Aids or mask it. I think people don't know that this is available to them. And that's why I'm so excited that you're doing this work and what you're sharing with the world, all these different alternative modalities, which is like, hey, there's so many other ways. And, and it's time for people to start learning, because I think people are just tired. They're tired of feeling a certain way, and intuitively they know. I mean, look at how many people are turning to yoga and meditation and mindfulness practices more in the last 5 years than ever before. It's so exciting, where it used to be sort of like, you and I kind of kept this under the radar in wraps. Like, I don't want to tell people because I was just like the woo woo, kind of silly person, quirky. But it's like now people are being like, oh, there's something to this. A lot of the people I work on, they don't believe in this. I mean, I have an amazing story about, like, even relationships. So one client, she and her brother, he's 8 years older than her, they have never gotten along. She's now 77. He's 85, I believe, or she's going to be 77. They've never gotten along. And I'm like, there's something here. Like, let's see what's at the root cause of it. So it took like 3 sessions, and a whole number of things came up, and doesn't need to make sense to them. And her brother doesn't even know that, she's working on this. Then she's like, Jodi, you are not going to believe it. For the first time she was 76 at the time, for the first time in my 76 years, 3 days later after it finished clearing, he said, I love you. And now he's never said, I love her. And now every single phone call they have, he says, I love you. I had worked with someone else, which is how she came to me. And so and she believed in the work they were doing, but she just didn't believe in the work for herself. And so it's like, wow, it's just so cool that, like, it could be worked on a physical level. It could be worked for pain. It could be worked on relationship dynamics. And so it's just really fun.
So is there a state of, like, being healed, and what does it mean to you to actually, like, what does healing actually mean to you?
Healing is a process, it's a journey, but I also think it's just about, and my website is Be Authentically Whole. It's just like, how can I just be my authentic self? How can I show up as I am? How can I stop putting on pretenses and acting as if? Like, how can I, because that's when you start getting healing too, when you actually are true to yourself. You show up as yourself. You are unabashedly yourself. And so sometimes it's like, when you get into that mode of, I need to get healed, I need to be healed, well, you're continuously sick. That means you're sick. And so when you look at it as like, I try to look at it instead of, I need to just clear these things versus I need to be healed because
Mm.
I'm perfect. I'm perfect exactly as I am. And we all are perfect. And sometimes different things show up for us because they're part of our journey to make us stronger, to help us find our resiliency, to help us find our strength, to, it's like it was all part of, it, the things that happen for us are happening for us, not to us. And so, it's what's the learning from that? Where's the growth from that? And so it doesn't mean it's always pleasant. And a lot of times healers have gone through, a dark night of the soul and have really gone through the trenches because we're able to then really empathize and help
Mm.
people because we understand, we know what it's like. Like I'm not a healer, an energy healing practitioner who hasn't gone through it myself. I've
Mm.
gone through it,
Yeah.
and I've made it on the other side. And I continue to. Life continues to get better and better. And it's like, wow, by clearing these limiting beliefs and clearing, all of these things that I didn't even know, like why I continued to self sabotage, why I continued to do these things that I knew I shouldn't do, but I couldn't help it.
There's almost like an addiction to the belief that we need to be fixed. So, and I know I've done this so many times myself. No, I just need to learn this, and then I have to learn that, and then I need this kind of healer, and then this. So I've really, in my own life, slowed it down. I'm just naturally very curious. I want to know more, which is why
Mm-hmm.
the podcast is
Mm-hmm.
great because I can at least start asking those questions and finding out more. But I had to really slow down on signing up for learning and all these different kinds of learning because
Mm-hmm.
also, any one modality or tool that speaks to you, if you take it deep enough, will help and you'll get what you need from that. And then whatever comes to your door that you want to open up and go deeper or learn more about, or a specific teacher or methodology, you can. But that was really hard for me. Probably there was some fear under there of making the wrong choice, or maybe like self sabotage that I couldn't actually take it deep enough. So I would just keep staying on the surface level for many things. But that was such a big lesson to stop believing that I had to be fixed and that this next thing would be the thing that would change it all. Because that's also putting your power completely outside of yourself, but it's so present. I'm really thinking about people I know or clients. It's so present in so many people's lives who I'm surrounded by. It really is this, yes, snowball effect. Well, that didn't work, but this one will, and this one will. So there is almost that decision point of I am well, and who do I want to
Mm-hmm.
support me through that wellness?
It's true. And that's what's so fun is like every person's not meant to work with every
Mm.
practitioner or every modality. And it's about finding the ones that work for you. I mean, I was also like, all right, someone tells me like, oh, I had this great experience with this healer or this, psychic reader or this medium or whatever. And I'm like, yes, 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 yes. And I'm spending so much money for the person who's going
Yeah.
to fix me, the person who's going to make it all right. And thankfully, muscle testing has allowed me to be more
Mm.
discerning. Is this a good person for me to work with? No. Okay, good. So I'm able to save money and, not go down these rabbit holes of like, oh, it's going to be you because, Kristen had a great experience with you. And so now I'm able to be much more discerning around who it is I should work with and where I should put my money and how often I should do it, what things I can do myself, or
Mm.
where I do need to have some external support because I do still work with some people, but the majority I am able to
Mm.
do on my
I
own.
think that's so
Yeah.
powerful, and I never even thought of using muscle testing or my pendulum for that. um, but actually, that's really, even with the clients that I take on in my practice, is am I actually the right fit? Sometimes I just know, I feel it. The energy is either it's a connection or it's not, and sometimes questions come up, and I'm really like, is this right? Or do I have an ulterior motive or do
Hmm.
they? And actually getting really honest with who I'm allowing in. And also, but also for everyone listening, like the energy work is an exchange. You're letting someone into your field.
Hmm.
So You don't want to just let everyone come on in whenever they want or whenever you see a nice poster on the wall.
It's so true. It was so interesting. I recently saw this psychic, and he's got on Instagram, he's got all these followers. I'm like, oh, he seems like the real deal. And like, I didn't even
Mm,
tap in and see, is this someone I should work with? So he does these like, sends you a report of blah, blah, blah. And right away, I started feeling
mm.
so off. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I got an
Oh.
entity from him. And I was like, and I was able to clear it. It's
Mm,
not that big of a deal. But I was like, see, and it was a lesson, trust yourself and test.
mm.
Better. You know better than to just allow anyone
Yeah.
into your energy, like to be more discerning. And it was, yes, I needed
Mm,
that reminder, that I should not be like it
mm.
really matters. It really does
Well,
matter, So just like I don't think this work is for, like, some people it may not resonate with. And then other people are just like, this is exactly what I've been working for. And I got such a strong yes, such a strong hit that like my whole
mm,
body is doing something that like, you're the person and this is
mm,
supposed to help me. I just am about like people finding their path, being
mm.
more open, exploring different
So you
things.
mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, and I want to just come back to that because this idea of protection, I think that's a really powerful idea. So, based on what we're talking about now, we're both working in the energy space and we can still make mistakes or like invite people in that we don't want. What does protection mean, and how might someone use that?
Yeah, sure. There's so many ways that you can protect yourself, and you can Google it. And there are many different ways where, it's just making the intention like, I do this because this is how
Mm-hmm.
I program
Mm-hmm.
or clear, by doing this. It's swiping over your governing meridian, where it's just like, I am protected. Or every morning when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I say prayers. And some of them are around protection. And so it could look like different things. Some people envision themselves surrounded in a protective shield and a protective layer, like a cloak, if you will. And so, whatever it is, there's no right or wrong, which is what I love. It doesn't have to look like this, it's whatever resonates. And then, as long as you feel protected,
Mm-hmm.
you're protected. It is so. And so it is. You find that you can go throughout your day. And also, like at the end of my days, I'll use Palo Santo and just clear any energies I picked up to just clear myself, my aura, my, energy field. Um, and it's, an energetic clearing, cleansing. And it's just like you wash your body, in the shower. I need to clear my energy
I
field.
love that you say that because something that is very recent for me to start working on. I mean, it's not even, it's really just trusting is that my intention is enough. And it's very new. It sounds so simple, but it came to me within the last, week. And I'm suddenly like, oh, actually, it is that simple to just decide and
It's
intend
that simple.
I am protected, and that's good. And I have lots of meditations to do that and visuals and the whole armada of protections. But I
Hmm.
think at the end of the day, it's just that trust that you're saying. So I'm really happy that you just mentioned that now because that really connects for me.
Intention is everything. This work is intention, because what I'm doing is tapping into people's subconscious. I'm asking them to set the intention to clear whatever issue they came to me with. And then I have the
Mm,
intention to clear whatever they came to me with. And then when I'm swiping, it's with the intention to clear. And so it's just all intention. Every day, all day, it's just my
mm,
intention, how I'm showing up, what I'm intending to happen. So, it all goes back to the law of attraction and manifestation. And, there's so much to be said for
mm. Yeah,
intention.
it's wild actually. So if your
Wild.
intention is that I'm
Yeah.
suffering, I'm unwell, and etc., you're also creating that intention for how life feels and how life can feel difficult, even if you don't mean to. So it's happening subconsciously also.
Yes. It's interesting because even intention with this work, my intention is to clear this as quickly and completely and fully as possible. So I found that in the beginning when I was doing it would be many, many layers and many associated imbalances. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want to go through all that. We're going to do this as quickly, efficiently. And then there was a
Mm,
shift. And it was like, wow, that worked. Where, and so it's a lot of it is just like getting out of your own way and just believing like, all right, I'm going to act as if like, and then it's really crazy. I mean, I'm constantly amazed. And the more you believe, the more the universe sort of, it's funny. It's this like funny thing. Like, I'm going to show you lots of synchronicities and all these different things. It's this dance with the universe where you're like, whoa, I had no idea all these years, like how it all works. And now I kind of feel like I have the inside scoop on the universe and like how it works.
Well,
It's so
it's
fun.
also funny how when something clicks, like when it actually resonates and you
Yeah.
get it. And then in that moment, it's,
Yes.
oh my God, because it happens all the time. And as you said, synchronicities come in and a synchronicity could be anything. It could be that, Jodi's wearing the color green today and I happen to see a green bus outside and whatever. There could be so many different ways that can show up, but just paying attention to the things that keep kind of knocking on your door over and over and giving you that sign. Okay, what do I need to pay attention to here? What is it that I'm learning or
Yeah.
understanding in this moment?
Yeah. It's funny. People believe in luck. I was lucky, or, oh, it was a coincidence. I'm like, no, I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happens
Mm,
for a reason, and so once you start to dance with the universe, like more things show up, like, you ask for signs, you'll
mm,
get signs. It's just so fun. Like, I want to heal this once and for all.
mm,
Help me find the practitioner that can help the right thing come into my
mm.
life. And then it does. You just have to ask, because there's something called divine will. Like, it's the spirit world can't step in and help unless we give it
Mm.
permission. Otherwise we're here to, we're on our own path. So tapping into that.
What is it that you are offering in the world? How can people get in touch with you? Why should they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I have a website, Be Authentically Whole, BE Authentically Whole, WHOLE.com. And that has, everything about this work and shares a little bit more about me. And yes, I do emotion code, body code, belief code. I also do other things. So I sort of tap into my arsenal of tricks, if you will, to figure out like what does this person need. And yeah, what I love is that I work with people all over the globe. And so it's super fun that I don't have to be in person with anybody. It's all on the phone or, like I said, Google Doc and email. Most sessions take
Mhm.
25 minutes. And because I work so quickly, I can clear as much as possible. And then the subconscious knows like, oh, we've got 25 minutes. And so it's really interesting. Like Dr. Nelson teaches you like, some people want to work like in 90-minute sessions. He's like, sure, but if you hold the intention that you're going to clear all you want in 25, then you'll be able to do it in 25. So,
Uh-oh, my coaching
it's
sessions
really
are 90
interesting.
minutes. Might need to look at that.
But that's different. It's a different kind of offering. So yeah, so that's a little bit more about me and if people want to work with me or find out
And
more.
if people also want to learn more about the kind of modalities that we've talked about, are there podcasts or courses or books that you'd
Yes.
recommend they look into?
Yes. So Discover Healing is the website, and that talks more about the emotion code, body code, belief code. There's
Mhm.
also a map of practitioners around the world. So people can read different people's profile and look at their websites and see who resonates. He wrote the book, The Emotion Code. He wrote another book called The Body Code. So people could read those as well. And then again, those books like Power versus Force, David R. Hawkins' work is an amazing place to better understand trapped emotions, energetic frequencies,
Mhm.
muscle testing. Yeah. And then there's also a book called The Body Keeps Score
Gosh,
that's also
that
really
book,
good.
the book that keeps
Yeah.
on giving, my
Yeah.
God.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
recommending that in a lot of conversations recently. So,
Hmm.
is there some piece of advice that you would give to someone who maybe is just starting on their healing journey? Something that you would like to share, wisdom you've gained from your own journey or otherwise?
Yeah, I'd say don't give up. Keep the faith, keep the hope. Don't let anyone tell you it's not possible. Find those people, those doctors, those practitioners that feel like they're going to be on your journey with you. They don't want you to just be beholden to them and locked into them. So find people who are going to help you on your way. And if intuitively it doesn't feel right, or they're trying to minimize you or your feelings, which many do, tap into your gut and just feel if they're the best for you. Because sometimes I think, like, even working with a therapist, it's like, oh, but I was working with them for so long. And it's like, but are you feeling like at this point, at this juncture, they're still best serving you? Or is it time to find someone else because you're constantly evolving and maybe you've outgrown them, but then there's an attachment. And so it's learning to surrender and not being attached and being open to maybe other people who can help you on your journey. It is possible to heal. I do believe that it is possible. I am proof point that it is possible to heal.
Oh, that's such beautiful wisdom to close this conversation. Really, it's been a pleasure to have you here. I'm so happy we reconnected and that you agreed to join me on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for listening to this episode of Don't Step on the Bluebells. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Don't Step on the Bluebells. If you enjoyed this conversation, please give the podcast a 5-star rating wherever you listen. And don't forget to hit subscribe and follow along so you never miss a new episode.